start.
Come here.
Hi, this is Scott Tottenham, and you're listening to the Life is the Future podcast, a podcast for health education, middle school, and life in general. It's season 6 of our podcast. That means this is starting the 6th school year that we've recorded 8th graders interviewing their peers about all topics on teenage life. Thanks so much if you've stuck with us since season 1 of our podcast episodes, and also thank you if you're just tuning in for the first time. We're going to introduce our 4 new podcast hosts for this school year, starting with Ayla and Alexis. Here they are.
All right, here we are. Welcome to season 6 of the Life is the Future podcast. I have 2 of our new hosts. I'm going to let them introduce themselves here in just a moment. And we're starting up. This is 6 school years we've done this, season 6. So I have 2 of 4 of our Life is the Future season 6 hosts. Who's up first, Ayla or Alexis?
I can go.
Ayla, tell the world who you are. What are you up to? What are you into?
So, my name is Ayla, and I really like doing sports. I am very athletic. I'm always ready to go to with a helping hand.
Yeah. So what sports? Anything in particular?
I do football and softball right now. I do the school football team.
Yeah.
And I do softball outside of school. And then usually during the winter time when it gets a little cold, I do basketball.
Nice. Alexis, say hi to everybody and introduce yourself. What are you up to?
I forgot looking here. My name's Alexis. I'm athletic, love doing sports. I love keeping it moving. I don't like staying still. I always am moving in some sort of way. I play softball. And then for the school, I do track in the spring season.
Nice.
And then wintertime is just winter ball for softball. So, I mean, it's pretty much softball.
Mm-hmm. And you're both aren't you both involved in I lead?
Yes.
So what does that mean?
It's changing a lot because we have new sponsors for it. Because when Miss Kazi and Esposito was the leaders for that, it wasn't as regular, and it was just kind of like you had the name and the title of being an I-Lead. Now that Miss Mendoza and Miss, do you know who it is or no? Miss April are now, because they didn't know much about I-Lead, now every Thursday there's meetings. Do I feel that's unnecessary? Absolutely. Am I the sponsor? No. But it's not my thing. And it's just a lot more work than what it was before.
What do you get to do with other students? What does that essentially mean?
So I feel like a way that I would explain iLead is, I feel like for me, iLead is helping around the school and making everyone in the school a little bit more happier than they were before, and just a little bit more cheerful. Like, for example, not too long ago, when it was the new 6th graders coming in, we put Jolly Ranchers in every locker as like a little gift when they open their locker, because it's a little hard to open your locker, so
Sure.
It's like a little surprise.
Yeah.
Make you happy.
It brought me back to when I was in 6th grade. It was so hard to open my locker. They were struggling so much.
So I just gave up for like the first week, and then I was like, wait, I kind of have to open this.
Yeah. Well, I asked about your leadership roles because you're going to lead our student-led podcast. So what that's going to mean is, like all our previous school year seasons, is you get to bring in 2 or 3 other 8th graders, your classmates, your peers, and bring up a topic and talk about it. It's going to be a candid conversation, just informal. It's never like it's homework. But we've been successful with this now for 5 full seasons, and you're going to start 6. We just started 8th grade. How are you feeling about all of that? And how do you feel about the fact that I approached you to be a leader?
Well, for me, 8th grade's going like really slow. Like, it's not going as fast as 7th grade, but what from 8th graders said, because like Julius and all of them, they said that 8th grade's easier than 7th grade, but I guess we'll see coming up, getting further into 8th grade. It was actually, when you called me to ask to do the podcast, it was actually kind of coincident because me and my dad were talking about doing a podcast, so it was kind of interesting, the timing that it was.
You were thinking about doing something like this before, so that just proves that this was meant to be, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. How's the school year going so far, Ayla?
So I think the school year, 6th and 7th grade were pretty similar, but then a jump to 8th, there was just like a lot more rules, and I feel like they changed up like rules in general from the school, so it just felt a lot different moving into 8th grade. But I do feel like it's kind of easier, so my attention is just kind of lost because it's a lot of repeats, just like a tiny bit harder from last year. So I just feel like I'm going over the same thing over and over.
It's just those writer notebook things.
Yes. Yeah. But I do like doing this sort of thing. I like being out and open with different things. So the podcast, and you do have your YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Which
It's going to go up on that too.
Which I think is pretty fun to do because it's open.
Yeah.
Talk about.
Well, I need people that are vocal, and we need people that can talk and, you know, hold conversations, think of what's next to ask somebody nearby. I think both of you could do that. And so you should take that as a compliment, because I only approach 4 leaders every single school year out of the entire 8th grade. And I think you two are going to be outstanding. Ayla, not usually, but a lot of times I've done the morning announcements.
Yeah.
But I think just being in 6th and 7th grade with me, it proves who's a discussion leader and who might be great at this in 8th grade. Because I'm out of the scene. I'll be out, you'll be leading. Have you listened to any of our previous episodes?
I did, and I got a few ideas for episodes.
What could be some good topics this year?
Definitely the relationship ones, because I think that's not only a fun topic to talk about, but I think it's definitely something that does happen
Not
in
just
middle
friendships,
school.
but like dating.
Friendships and dating, because I mean it happens all the time in middle school, and navigating relationships and friendships and everything is something that, I mean, some people just need to talk about. I mean, say keeping it to yourselves or whatever. And then a good one when they just played like kind of games, so it was like Never Have I Ever and things like that. That was a fun one, I guess, to do.
We haven't had that for a couple of years. Maybe bring that back.
Yeah, I think I saw that one in like season 2 or whatever.
Yeah, a while ago. Cool.
Yeah.
Ayla, did you listen back to any?
I didn't, but she explained like some of the episodes to me, and which I think the relationship was.
It might be worthwhile. We have 5. Obviously, any listeners or viewers right now, we've got 5 seasons of however many episodes we did that school year, from about 12 to 20 per school year. And you can repeat all those topics. So by all means, use those as ideas and then add your own spin on it, or you can even come up with your own. Some that tend to be present every single school year are relationship, friendships, bullying, anti-bullying, some mental health issues. Not in a bad way, just how do you deal with stress, how are you managing like the workload, school stuff. Sports comes up pretty much every school year.
I feel like a big thing is trying to manage your after-school sports with your homework and your schoolwork. Because I feel like last year, I couldn't really like balance that. I really liked doing the sports, but I feel like sometimes I wouldn't study for tests because I just didn't have enough energy after all my sports to do that. Yeah. So then I would just get a lower grade. So I feel like this year, I'm really working on managing my time with all of it.
Here's the thing that's kind of weird for me. So 7th grade last year, I was doing rec softball and subbing for a travel team, and I wasn't paying too much attention in class, and that's when I started getting like really bad grades. So I definitely saw a huge drastic change from 6th to 7th grade, and it changed back in 8th grade to kind of like my 6th grade self if I was really paying attention in class. And it's kind of weird because ever since I started playing a travel sport, so I'm not subbing anymore for any travel team, I'm actually on a travel team. I've been doing better in school. I think it's just because I'm moving a lot, and I work better when I'm moving instead of staying still.
Yeah.
And just paying attention in class, if you do that, you pretty much will pass your test. It's really just paying attention in class, and if you listen to everything.
It'd be good to bring up with, I wonder what your first topic could be. Any ideas already?
I feel like the way, because I know that some kids like the faster, but some kids don't like the faster. Because I think some kids, why they don't like the fasterness of it is because it goes too fast and then they just give up listening.
What's the fast? What do you mean?
Like fast teaching.
Oh, okay.
So I think some kids don't like the fast teaching of some teachers. So I feel like that would be a good topic. Do you like when they teach faster, or do you like when they teach slower? Because some kids, they like it because it moves fast and they can comprehend quickly, but some kids can't.
I think another topic that would be good, how friends can influence your decisions.
Absolutely.
Peer pressure.
Sure.
Not only just peer pressure, but just like friends, like research shows that the 5 people that you hang around the most with, you become like. So just even like how they study, you start to study. How they do that, you start to do that. How they talk, you start to do that, because you're influenced by the people that you hang around. So it's not just peer pressure, and sometimes you don't even notice unless you really kind of like dig into the way your friends move around and the way you're starting to move around. You don't even notice it, and it's kind of interesting when I look that up, how that works and everything.
Some of this stuff comes up in health class, and you can use any of those topics, because I have Ayla in class, but not Alexis yet. And then you can choose any other topics we haven't even brought up in this room before, and it's all okay, And if people disagree, that's okay too. So you're going to learn some health skills like communication and decision making, what topics to bring, who to bring in, advocacy. Remember that word from 7th grade too. But then just, what about internet safety? We're only going to use first names. We're not going to give any personal information out. Mm-hmm. And then just giving insight to the world on teenage life. So I think that's what I like about this. Just provides you a chance to express yourself. So I'm excited where you go with things. And who you bring in. Do you have already, no naming names, but do you have a couple of people already in mind?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
And then do we need to bring in 2 girls, or could it be a girl and a boy?
Any
so it could be anybody. Okay.
I think sometimes it's nice, even if you don't know somebody that well, because you can kind of get to know them, and why not have a diverse group of people coming in with opinions.
And it needs to be 2 people, or?
Yeah, you're going to bring in like 2 or 3, kind of where I am essentially, or, however you want to set it up in here.
Okay.
Usually at least 2 is nice.
Okay.
Keeps the conversation flowing.
Yeah.
So we'll stay tuned for your first actual episode coming up really soon, like by next week, hopefully. That's the goal. And we're going to introduce our other 2 hosts too, so we want to get them in. We'll do just real quick. This is going to be a short episode, and same thing with our other 2 on the school year. Looks like it's going to be John and James as our 4 8th grade hosts for the 2023-2024 Life is the Future podcast. What's really neat is that my first group of leaders just graduated high school, so we invited them back because they were still in the area. Yeah, I listened
to that one too.
So this stuff keeps going. It's neat because it kind of just keeps going into the future,
Yeah.
So we're going to reflect on the past, look ahead to the future, everything currently going on in a teenager's life. But there's Ayla and Alexis, so stay tuned and look forward to some great episodes from them. What did we miss? Anything to introduce you?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's it.
Yeah.
All right, thanks. Thanks for coming in.
Uh-huh.
All right.
Thanks for inviting us.